Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. Once again, we are checking out another 3 teams from the Go Battle Days 40 team challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video. There are quite a few more to come. I know that it might not be all wins and it might not be all crazy plays, but the fun part is trying a bunch of different teams from the community, from friends, from chatters, viewers, followers, and just see how we can perform with them. And honestly, we performed pretty decent with these 3 teams. We had a team that I made myself, which is a triple shadow team that we will be showcasing at the end of the video. And then we're going to check out another 2 fun teams. So let's get right into it, right? Let's get right into it, see what we can do. And yeah, for the first team, already a little bit corny. We're starting with Shadow Marowak lead, Cradley SSA swap, and we got the Dene in the back. So let's see what we can do with this team. Honestly, Shadow Marowak in the lead is an extremely versatile Pokemon. Even if you are ABA weak to something like Ice, for example, you can stay in with Marowak and try to do some work. In the first lead, though, we see Dusknoir in the lead, which honestly is kind of a scary Pokemon, but hopefully we can make something work here. Dusknoir is able to outpace us here, but if you can tell, the Mud Slaps are doing a lot more damage to them than the Astonishes are. So maybe we can force alignment, which unfortunately that is mostly of what Marowak can do. So let's see if we can force the alignment here. We definitely can. We come out with quite a bit of energy here. Togekiss comes in, and yeah, we're able to land this Rock Slide, which is insane amounts of damage. Maybe my opponent thought we didn't react in time. We bring in Dedenne, and our opponent kind of like is shocked for a second there. They don't really swap out, and it's very evident that they don't really have an answer to Dedenne. I make a little bit of a misplay here throwing the Rock Tomb. I really should have just thrown Grass Knot, because I thought if I threw Rock Tomb I would be able to outpace, but unfortunately maybe if I just stayed in with the Dedenne we would have been able to win this game. But a little bit of a misplay there by me. I'm not very good with these types of teams going down shields like that. Anyways, on to the next battle. We get hard countered in the lead. We swap into Cradley and we get hard countered again. Very, very interesting stuff nonetheless. But regardless, maybe we can make something work here. We actually do force a shield advantage from the Caesar, and Marowak is going to Marowak, right? So we're going to come into this Caesar. We're going to double shield and fully farm down. I know Altaria is a very hard counter to Marowak, but if we have a bunch of energy, I mean, is it really a hard counter? So once again, we're just mud slapping the Caesar all the way down. I'm hoping I can take one more mud slap, but I can't. I'm just going to throw this Rock Slide practically right away after throwing a mud slap. And yeah, maybe I can get to a second one. In fact, though, I'm going to actually bank a Mud Bomb and bring in my Dedenne. And look at that. My opponent is almost triple weak to Dedenne. Honestly, not very strong into it. I don't know what they do if they see Dedenne on the lead. My opponent makes a very good play here. They actually cap tie us with Dedenne. It's a little bit of a toss-up. You know, Dedenne actually can win this cap tie, but I guess my opponent was very confident that they had a high attack Gator. So, oh well, that's totally fine. Altaria is still not going to be able to farm us all the way down here. They have to throw energy, and it looks like we will be able to outpace them to the Rock Slide before they get to the Sky Attack. Let's see. Yeah, we take it after 1, and we're able to take this win. Definitely a very close game, but Dedenne kind of put in a lot of work into this back line. On to the next battle here. Let's see what we got in the lead. We got Marowak into Avalugg. So this is what I was talking about, right? This team is ABA to Ice, so I kind of have to stay in here and try to do as much work as I can with my Marowak. Of course, I'm going to farm up to the Rock Slide and bait with the Bone Club. There's really no point in me going for the Rock Slide. Even a Bone Club would put him into farm down range. So I'm just going to take my shield advantage here. I will shield now because I know that this Bone Club is still going to do pretty decent damage, but I can actually outpace to a Rock Slide now that we baited with the first. So maybe I can get both shields down here, and we do. So I can bring in my Dedenne, maybe start putting in some work into the back line of this team. I'm going to let this this move go because I feel like, I mean, every single team in the Go Battle Day has Mud Slappers, right? So I really want to make sure I take out this Avalugg, but my opponent reads me like a book. They know that I'm going to overfarm by 1 here, and that's really bad for us. So I'm going to bank my energy once again into this Corsola, bring in Cradily, and I know that I need a lot of residual energy out of this matchup if I want to deal with that Avalugg, right? I know the Avalugg only has a body slam, so I'm not super worried about that just yet. But I do want to make sure that I come out with around 2 moves out of this matchup. The Avalugg comes back in. I'm able to knock it out with a Rock Tomb, and my opponent pivoting out of that matchup might give me a chance at a win this game. But if you guys haven't noticed, we haven't seen a Mud Slapper from this opponent, and like I said, there is always a Mud Slapper. People are just not very creative, unfortunately, and I mean, I will say that myself too. I know I'm running a Mud Slapper. It's not like I really made the team, but yeah, very unfortunate here. Cradily was pretty strong in the back, but we couldn't save it. So yeah, on to the next battle here though. We go against an expert and we see Gustlord in the lead. Of course, I'd rather see this on my Dedenne, but this is still a pretty decent matchup for Marowak. Once again, the Mud Slaps are doing insane amounts of damage, and I know these Bone Clubs, if they no shield even one of them, we will just be able to 2 shield farm all the way down. But what I'm going to do here is actually save my Marowak. I feel like my Marowak might have quite a bit of play in the back. And look at that. There's a Charjabug. So Dedenne and Marowak are insanely good into this Pokemon. And unfortunately, we see it on Cradily. Thankfully, though, I know that we can survive an X-Scissor from a little bit over half HP. So I'm just going to full send this Rock Tomb. And at this point, I'm going to come in with my Dedenne, and everything is resisted here, right? And they're debuffed. So I know that I can just overfarm a bunch here. If my opponent doesn't want to give me this farm down, they're going to have to pivot out of here. And they do. And look at what they have in the bag, a Azumarill. This is one of the things that kind of frustrated me about Go Battle Day. This team makes absolutely 0 sense, right? It has not a single answer to Dedenne. Their Gustlord is on Dragon Claw. They can't even Sludge Bomb it. Just an absolutely senseless team, but I'm glad we can take that win. We see Greninja in the lead in the next match, and I know Greninjas like to cap tie these Marowaks, so I'm just going to pivot into my Cradily. They actually Night Slash bait, which I guess kind of makes sense. They bring in a Scizor, and if they don't throw energy, I am going to be able to get a shield back with this Rock Tomb, which I feel like I'm going to do anyways. Yeah, my opponent actually Trailblazes there, which I guess is relatively smart, but they really didn't have to throw all that energy. My opponent makes another very smart play, and they don't throw they don't shield the Rock Tomb. So now I'm forced to throw energy with my Marowak because they will get to another move. And once again, we catch a move on our Dedenne. I'm hoping that we don't get hard countered in the back, and my opponent isn't really swapping out. So I think I am kind of incentivized to shield this move now. And I guess just find out what they have back there. They have a Corsola, which honestly isn't an amazing Pokemon for us to see, especially up 2 shields. Very, very spooky Pokemon. But we are able to throw the Parabolic Charge pretty much instantly there. And now I throw the Parabolic Charge here because I'm expecting my opponent to try and cap tie me or throw before I get to my second one on good timing. But my opponent doesn't do that. They get the extra Astonish, and that is going to be able to win them this game. They're just going to be able to fully outpace us here. And honestly, we were kind of playing from the backseat the entire game, but I am proud with what we were able to accomplish. All right, on to the next team here. We got Talonflame, Malamar, Morpeko, and I gotta say, guys, I love Morpeko. I don't feel like Morpeko is too OP. They definitely need a nerf Aura Wheel because it's a little bit too strong, but I do love Morpeko. It's extremely squishy, but extremely powerful. It kind of reminds me of Scizor in a way. Yeah, so pretty decent lead with the Marowak. My opponent pivots into a Corsola, and we have a perfect answer to this Corsola with our Malamar. So let's see if we can keep switch advantage. Honestly, we kind of need switch advantage pretty bad here, but it looks like we're gonna have to go down 2 shields to get it, and that's definitely not what we want. Honestly, this Malamar Corsola matchup is very cope. So I'm thinking that this game is kind of already lost, right? My opponent brings back in the Marowak, and yeah, it doesn't matter what I bring at this point. They're just going to be able to win. So once again, another one of those teams that are kind of just like stat product based, right? You pick 2 or maybe even 3 Pokemon that have over 2,000 stat product. For example, Marowak, Corsola, Azumarill, Bastiodon, Carbink, you know, all those very bulky Pokemon. I try to make a cheeky Rock Slide catch on my Morpeko, but yeah, my opponent is a professional screen tapper. They love tapping their screen and getting all the wins, so we were not able to take that game, unfortunately. On to the next battle, though. We have a Talonflame Mirror. And you guys know me, I lose every single cap tie no matter what. So here is another one that we lose. To be fair, our Talonflame is a very high ranked Talonflame. We got a 36 ranked Talonflame, but regardless, I would like to win a cap tie every now and then. I am going to land this fly and I'm going to pivot into my Malamar. Unfortunately, if we had Shadow Malamar, we actually get that farm down, but this Talonflame is able to get to one last fly. And yeah, they bring in a Cradily. It looks like the Talonflame might have gotten DRE there. So really, really unfortunate for us there. But anyways, they bring in Cradily. I full send the superpower and they no shield. So I'm going to just throw my foul play right away. I did try to do a side wave. I remember that day, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get the move through. Regardless though, I feel like at this point I just put everything on my Morpeko. I let Malamar go, bring in the Morpeko. My opponent brings in Annihilate, which is a very scary Pokemon, but I should be able to debuff it with the Psychic Fangs and bring in Talonflame. Hopefully Talonflame can put in enough work with the Incinerates here. I'm going to throw both of these Incinerates and then the Fly, and my opponent, they don't even throw energy. They don't throw their Rage Fist, which is very, very weird for me. But now that we have a shield, we should just be able to take this game. Yeah, we will be able to take the game with the Aura Wheel. My opponent does not want the smoke, and that's going to be a good game. On to the next battle here. We got Talonflame into Clodsire. Very spooky matchup. You always have to shield the first, but the good thing is the opponent can't really afford to bait, right? So if they do bait with the Sludge Bomb, you know that you will survive the next. But if they do show the Stone Edge, which they have to show, then you know that you will have to shield both. So you kind of always have to shield the first with Talonflame, but if they do have Sludge Bomb, you might have some play. Thankfully, we are able to outpace this Clodsire to the double fly, and they do shield. So I'm just going to instantly pivot into my Malamar, save my Talonflame, which looks to have a little bit more play. And I know that no matter what move it is here, I am able to survive it with Malamar, burn the clock quite a bit. My opponent brings in Greninja, and man, I am hoping that they're pretty weak to Morpeko in the back. I full send the superpower. Greninja instantly throws the Night Slash here more than likely. And yeah, the clock has been kind of misaligned quite a bit already. So I know that I can bring my Morpeko into this Greninja. Of course, I'm going to shield the move here. It is a Hydro Cannon. I'm just going to do one in the move here. I know Greninja is extremely spammy, and honestly, I always forget the counts, so I don't want to deal with that. But even if my opponent brings in the Clodsire, I know that a Psychic Fangs will knock them out. So my opponent brings in Meowscarada, and look at this boosted Aura Wheel. Damn, that did 90% of their HP. I'm going to bring in Talonflame, try to snipe. I can't get the snipe, but very important play here. I throw my energy instantly into this Clodsire. I know this Clodsire might be able to get to a Stone Edge, so if I throw the energy here, I know a Night Slash won't be able to knock out, and I'm gonna always sneak my Incinerate there. So yeah, we guarantee the win there, and that is a good game. We see Drapion in the lead in the next match, and honestly, this is extremely awful for us. This matchup is so bad, especially the non-shadow Drapion, because they can actually survive a fly pretty decently. And I'm forced to throw an alignment here. Drapion did 7 Poison Stings and the move. Aquatail takes 4 Poison Stings, so they can always just fully outpace me there. I don't want to go down 2 shields if I don't have to. So I'm going to pivot into my Malamar, tank this Crunch. Thankfully, it is a non-shadow Drapion, but of course they get a debuff. Very, very predictable, I guess. Regardless though, thankfully this Golisopod is on Shadow Claw, which means that they can't just Fury Cutter us all the way down. So I am seeing the win con here. I'm just going to bring in more Pekko here and fully farm them down. And my opponent did not want the smoke. I don't know what they had in the back, but it was definitely not a more Pekko answer. So that's going to be a good game. Amazing lead in the next match. We see a Caesar into our Talonflame. My opponent swaps in Gastrodon, and I know that I kind of need switch advantage, but not really, right? I know that more Pekko has a pretty decent matchup into Caesar anyways, because we do resist the bullet punches. So if we can just force a shield out of this matchup, I know my opponent is very enticed here to shield. So yeah, there is the shield. Very good for us. I know that I'm gonna have to bring in my Talonflame and kind of throw instantly here, because yeah, if I let this Gastrodon get to another move, we might be in trouble, right? So I'm gonna do one in the move here, just get as much energy as I can, and let's see what we can do. We throw the move, we knock out the Gastro. They have Jellicent in the back, and look at that. Unfortunately for my opponent, once again, they are not going to be able to deal with this more Pekko. They try to call the bait of the Psychic Fangs onto their Caesar, and I'm not baiting, baby. I am full sending every single time. I bring in more Pekko. I cap tie the Jellicent just for a little bit of BM. And what do you know? They try to call the bait again, but trainer, I am not baiting. I am full sending every single time. And that is the last game for that team. On to the next team. This is the team that I created. It's a triple shadow team. Honestly, a very fun team. Definitely not the best team, but it was really fun. So yeah, let's see what we can do. Shadow Gary, Shadow Drapion, and Shadow Talonflame. I mean, Shadow Typhlosion. Sorry about that. But yeah, we see Dusknoir in the lead in the next match, and I know this isn't a crunch, but I have to land some damage into this thing or it'll go rampant. My opponent no shield, so I know they're gonna instantly throw here, and who else to catch a resisted Shadow Punch than on Drapion, right? My opponent brings in Caesar here, and I know that I can just go for this crunch. I know that if they cap tied me with a Night Slash, it would not knock out. So I'm able to force the shield there, and that's all that I need. I have a Typhlosion ready for this Caesar. I should be shielding these moves though. Typhlosion is very squishy. My opponent Trailblazes for some reason. They're not really going to get to 2 moves, so I guess they just wanted to get a few boosted bullet punches there. They bring in a Blastoise, which honestly is very scary, but we have a really big energy lead, and look at how much damage that does, dude. Honestly, my opponent unfortunately didn't really have to play anymore there, so we are able to take that game. On to the next battle here, we see another Avalugg in the lead. Man, this thing was obscenely common, honestly, very weird. But we are able to outpace with these Aqua Tails. They are on Ice Fang, which doesn't really generate too much energy. So we are able to land the first. I do want to shield this Icy Wind, but my opponent makes a really decent play. They bait with a Body Slam. So now I'm kind of forced to throw this Aqua Tail a lot earlier than I would usually, and see what my opponent wants to do. My opponent does let go of switch advantage, which is pretty good for us. They bring in Corsola, and I have a pretty hard answer to this with my Drapion. So I am just going to look to kind of sack my, what's this thing called? Gyarados, and align this into my Corsola. Into my Drapion. Unfortunately, though, what do you guys think is in the back? I've told you already, there's always one of these in the back. And it's a Gastrodon. I make a crucial misplay here. I thought that I could get to an Aqua Tail and a crunch, but I can't. I can only get to double Aqua Tail, and unfortunately that's gonna cost me very dearly. If I landed the crunch there and saved my energy on Drapion, this Thunder Punch would actually knock out and force a shield or a knockout. But unfortunately, the Thunder Punch does not knock out. I don't have enough energy to deal with both of the Pokemon, and we are going to lose that game. On to the next battle here. We got Gyarados into Togekiss, and what looks to be a pretty bad matchup on paper, it's actually pretty good just because we outpaced to these Aqua Tails, right? And 2 Aqua Tails will knock out here. So I'm just going to throw these Aqua Tails here. I'm going to pace to the second one in time, and my opponent, I actually make a catch here, but my opponent, the cheeky Aura Sphere throw, they were just, I guess, expecting the catch there, or maybe they just don't know their typings, which is also very possible. But yeah, very good play by them. They are able to force a shield from me because I didn't catch the side shock that I was expecting to catch, unfortunately. But they bring in Empoleon, which honestly is kind of a problem for my team. So I'm able to force a shield and a bunch of damage into this thing. So now I'm just going to pivot into my Typhlosion. Thankfully, I do get a defense drop there. So I think landing this Incinerate is very, very valuable damage, which does force my opponent to throw it pretty much instantly. So I kind of just have to farm everything down at this point. I need this farm to outpace the Togekiss to moves. And my opponent tries to make a very cheeky catch there. I don't know why exactly, because to be fair, I mean, I'm going to throw Aqua Tail into the Torterra anyways. But yeah, now I am the one that has to make a catch to win the game here. And let's see if I make it. I get to the double Aqua Tail here, but of course they still have a shield, so I have to make 3. Gyarados already threw 4 charge moves, 6 charge moves this game. We make the game-winning catch right as soon as they get to their Frenzy Plant here, and we are going to be able to outpace to this final Aqua Tail. Very, very lucky catch there. I'm very proud of that one, and I am glad I got it. Torterra is a very RPS and scary Pokemon to see. So yeah, very, very cool stuff there. On to the next battle here. We see Gyarados into Fearow. Honestly, a pretty scary Pokemon to see, not gonna lie. But once again, we are able to outpace to these Aqua Tails, so hopefully we can get something done here, right? We outpace to the first. My opponent will be able to throw this Drill Peck to force a shield, so I'm not super excited about that. But regardless, let's see what we can do here. If we can force both shields, or I don't know, just have something done, because this Fearow is so threatening for our backline with that ground coverage that I'm not super excited about dealing with it. So of course, I think at this point I need a lot of fast move pressure to deal with this thing. So I'm gonna bring in Typhlosion. My opponent brings in a Marowak, and I think we just lose this game, right? I'm gonna shield this just to land this Blast Burn, because I gotta get rid of this Marowak. But what do you know? I make a tremendous misplay. I bring in my Drapion just to try to dance around with energy a little bit. But yeah, it looks like my opponent is just gonna have very hard answers to us in the back regardless. So they're waiting the clock a bunch. I really don't know why. I feel like a lot of opponents did this in Go Battle Day. They're either really bad, or they were just kind of teasing other people, because you guys are gonna see what they have in the back. The fact that they are waiting there is kind of senseless, because look at this. They have a Gastrodon. Trainer, you won the game as soon as you click battle. You really don't have to be going around and doing all that. But regardless, very, very fun teams that we ran this day. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Honestly, I had a lot of fun making it. So if you guys want to leave me a like or a comment down below, I would greatly appreciate that. I've been streaming on Twitch pretty regularly, so if you want to go check those out, I'd be thankful for that as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.